I know there's a lot of confusion over like what CREA actually does, and I know it because like we've had people from Maria on, people from Treb on, and there's always confusion like who's doing what. So like what is actually like CREA's main role in the industry?
So our new CEO, Michael Bork, and that was a plug, Michael. Our new CEO kind of really wanted to hammer down on three different buckets. Obviously the advocacy piece, the national, advocacy piece is so very important to where we're at. The affordability of housing, those conversations are not unique to one or two markets. It's a national conversation. The technological piece, so Realtor.ca, all things technology, and certainly the reputation. We're going through enhancements to try to strengthen. We have a Realtor code. We're trying to go through a national enforcement strategy of that Realtor code, and we almost got there last year, but we're committed to doing it again. And then under reputation is the national ad strategy and all things that. So it's really those three main buckets: tech, advocacy, and reputation of the profession.
So speaking of the tech side of it, so you guys run Realtor.ca. How much pressure is like all the different sites coming out there now? Like obviously Zillow is like the big name, but there's a lot of other sites out there. Like how much pressure has that put on CREA on improving Realtor.ca?
Look, we're a pretty open organization. We're status quo is not an option with technology. That's a generally held statement through the whole organization. Not just the leadership or the volunteer leadership, but the staff. And so what we know is it's a primary awareness piece, Realtor.ca, but we can't get held up on being satisfied that 92% of people are aware of Realtor.ca. We need to push that envelope even more. And the reality is we're in a world where we have millions and they have billions sometimes. But at the end of the day, we just need to create consumer interest pieces, an opportunity to grow our data. Because that's the other thing. Like Realtor.ca has accurate data. We do over 450,000 transactions go over Realtor.ca in any given year. And so the reality is those other portals you mentioned would love to have that traction.
So what are you guys doing now with the data?
Well, there's, in my home province of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and there's a few more boards to come online here soon. They've put sold data on Realtor.ca. So again, just another spot where the consumer can do some sold history.
Is there pushback against the sold stuff coming on?
Well, we've left it open for people to opt in. We haven't forced it down, but ever since New Brunswick came live and Nova Scotia came live, my mark in particular has gone up.
Yeah.
It's anytime you invoke a little bit of change, people sometimes get fearful of the unknown, but the reality is it hasn't impacted. Look, what we know is if you provide a one-stop shop, then that will provide people an opportunity to have faith in the person they're going to select. And so it's opt-in. I mean, there's some challenges in Ontario. We realize that with the regulator. We've talked. We've had an ongoing relationship in terms of discussing the objections. And there are literally 4 or 5 boards that are on the goal line to jumping in.
So I had someone on the show who was like years ago really involved with it, and he was saying that he was at a meeting and it got voted down at the time of should we put advertisements on Realtor.ca and then use that money to like make it better. Is that something that would be on the table again, or is that just completely off?
Yeah, it kind of comes up all the time. We're proud of the whole owned by members, run by members, for members. We have the data, the DDF, the data distribution facility, that kind of gives that flavor of people are able to sign on and use our data as long as they sign our agreements. I don't know. I don't know where I feel about that. I mean, the one thing that the consumer likes is it's non-cluttered, it's information friendly, and it's there, and they don't have to go through a whole bunch of click through. And when they want more information, they get the person that that owns the listing. So,
I don't mean like ads like that. Like going to like an RBC, going to like, not like going to agents and selling
Right.
leads. I mean, like, okay, like RBC would love to probably advertise. All the banks would probably love to. Like,
Right.
Is that something that's looked at?
Well, so that's what, like, TD is a DDF partner. So what they've
Yeah.
done is they've opted into our feed, and they've signed our agreement. And when you're online right now searching or trying to go through a mortgage application, and it gives you your affordability factor, then it pops up 3 Realtor.ca homes that fit that, whatever the
Yeah.
income, whatever the affordability factor is. And other banks have been interested in that as well,
Yeah.
so we're excited about that. But to put them directly on Realtor.ca, we don't. I'm not sure at this point in time, right now, when we're filming this.
Yeah. It's not on the table.
We've discussed it. It's
Yeah.
always something to kind of revisit. I don't foresee it in the
Yeah.
near future, but it could come to that.
So are there any like big changes coming to Realtor.ca, or like big changes that you're allowed to talk about? Because I know not everything is always allowed to be public.
Yeah.
That sounds like a no, I can't talk about
Yeah,
it.
that sounds like a no, I can't talk about it. Sorry, I'm just gonna have a drink of beer here.
Yeah. How are those pads? What's going on in the election?
Yeah. No, I mean, we did our lifestyle, Local Logics, we signed up for their lifestyle change. We've done the school. We've got some pretty, some pretty dynamic things going on with our website. We're always looking to retool. I guess the biggest thing right now is we're focusing on AI. And so right now there's, people that have an Alexa can search their open houses by way of saying, "Hey Alexa, what are the open houses near me between $200,000 and $300,000?" And it says, here they are, and it texts the consumer the open houses. So we're doing things like that, but in terms of
have you found any pickup on that yet?
well, it's we're finding that there's more people out there that have Alexas, and
Yeah.
we're
It's in every room in my house almost.
yeah. Right. So now go home and talk to
Yeah,
Alexa.
now I know it's there.
Yeah. It's communicating that and letting the consumers know that it's available, and the next stage would be to run this on people's Google Homes.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like Alexa was the right spot to start.
So I'll start with the big one and then
Yeah.
go from there. Let's go. So you guys just launched an app for Realtor.ca for agents.
Right.
So what actually have you guys found a lot of people adopting it, and what does it actually do?
Well, it actually went live last Thursday, so it's
brand new.
Brand new. Just got approved by the App Store and.
Is that both Android and Apple?
Yeah, it's Android and Apple, and maybe I'll push the website so you can have them on the bottom.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's a fantastic tool. I actually got to beta test it and before it went live, and it's so there's a lot of similarities to what's on the desktop version for the listing statistics and the email leads and all that. But it's just on your phone, and it provides the realtors with that on the ground support of knowing what's going on Realtor.ca. That's the one interesting question that we ask. We do these CREA open houses, so we talk to our members, through this avenue of, did you know, and what your value for your fee is, and all. We do a full hour-long presentation on the suite of services that CREA does. We ask people if they've been on the Realtor.ca app or on the desktop version that the consumers go to, and we have very low take up. So it's important for people to go and kind of get a sense for what the consumer's seeing, and this Realtor.ca member app is awesome. We're really happy. The feedback on social media so far has been really good.
Just randomly had an idea for it, and maybe it's already there. No. You know what you should do?
What?
So agents who sign up for it, on their listing, just should pop up a chat box for the consumer to talk directly to the agent through the app.
Yeah, that's that's a good idea.
Because it wouldn't be the text already all existing. It'd just be, I guess it'd just have to be set up so it only goes to people who've already downloaded the app.
We have had chatbot discussions, and the amazing piece is we have found that the number of leads that don't get responded to on Realtor.ca is astonishing.
Oh, that's all leads on every platform.
You work so hard to get these leads, and then people
it's like
40%. I was astonished. I'm like,
our biggest source of turnover is actually clients who just don't call the leads that are generated. They know they should, They just
I
don't
like pull over my car to
Yeah.
respond to leads.
Like we've set up like automations to try and help with it, but yeah, no, like it's literally like once in a while we do lose a client who we just didn't get the results that worked for them in their market, because some markets are tough now. It's like randomly Nashville, really hard place to get leads. Like San Francisco is a little bit tough, but it's probably just a lot of competition there. But 90+% of turnover is just not converting leads.
Wow.
Like it's normally like leads are easy to get once you know how.
Yeah.
But it's converting where it's hard.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Well, and then, going one step further is when you don't respond back to them, you can't convert them.
Yeah. Well, I guess like from your guys then too, like there's not really much CREA can do to get agents to respond.
No, we're...
Well, I guess you could build that into the app. Like when the lead comes in, it comes as a push notification through the app or something like that.
Well, and yeah, like if
there's
you
ways.
hop on, you can actually see, because that's the other thing that we're, unsure of is, with corporate spam filters and stuff, there are, when we talk about this at the open houses,
Yeah.
The CREA open houses, there is an opportunity where sometimes people don't know that they've missed a lead.
Yeah.
And so on this member-facing app, it's right there front and center. Like
Yeah.
there would be no excuse on
Now, is it like a click to call? Like it'll pull up their info and you could just click email,
it's
click
right
call.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. So if you haven't downloaded the app yet,
absolutely. Download the app.
get on it.
Yeah.
Give feedback because he'll respond.
I do respond
Sure.
to feedback.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like the nice part about it is we're so new into it that they're looking for feedback and they're looking to do updates and we figured out a few glitches.
Yeah.
I was in every social media site this weekend.
Any tech launch will have glitches.
And we found out a few glitches and it was
Yeah.
cool. Like people were respectful. They were like, "Hey, my listings didn't show up," and so.
Yeah.
One thing, a lot of people ask me, they're like, "Hey, how's the year been?" and all that stuff. And here's the thing that I can say, and I can say this genuinely, is the staff at CREA will lay over those tracks and bleed for realtors. And so sometimes there is this impression that, they don't, they're not there to help us. But, I've seen everybody, go in and go out of that office, and there isn't any more, any other organization or stakeholder engagement group that has a staff that goes to town like we have at the head office in Ottawa.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Well, I just find that the funny thing of like, because obviously I deal with a lot of agents and then also know a lot of people on the association side is like, almost every complaint I hear about like this, so whether it's a board, provincial, or CREA, they're like, I have this complaint, they're not doing this. I'm like, they are doing it. You're just not paying attention. Like,
Yeah.
that's being done already.
Yeah. And sometimes, sometimes there's a communication, like, can we communicate better? Absolutely. We can communicate better. I get that. Like that's been part of my job is to up the game. Our CEO is up there, but we have a great base to start from, and that's what I'm happy about. And so, sometimes a lot of this stuff is a frustration. It's never intentional, but it just happens. But can we do better? Absolutely.
Does CREA get involved at all in campaigns of like encouraging people to become realtors, or it's more to serve the existing base?
Yeah, no, it's existing base.
Yeah.
That's that's the brokerage model. In terms of, or even local boards, but I think mainly brokerages are looking at recruiting people.
Yeah.
That is something that we're looking to kind of double down on and get, and is to provide brokers more support. And I'm not able to say this right now, but I would stay tuned for some pretty innovative things. Working with brokers. There's a whole bunch of stakeholders. There's boards and associations who are an important part of what we do. Our customer is the realtor on the street. We understand that. And then there's franchisers and brokerages and we're always trying to connect the dots, because at the end of the day, if we provide boards and associations and the brokers the support, then it helps the realtor on the street.
So you guys run like Realtor.ca. I'm curious. Like, do you guys look at like Zillow or Remax.ca, RoyalPage.ca, those sites as competitors to it, or how do you view like the other people? Because essentially you're just competing for the same web traffic.
Yeah.
Like, what's the CREA view of other sites like that?
Look, I mean, some of those are members, and we're happy to work with them. And others aren't. But we try to just do our own thing and up our game and try to build off of what we have, and knowing that we need to build on the awareness piece and keep moving that bar And the VP of Realtor.ca, Patrick Bichette, has been, unreal to work with.
Yeah, good guy.
He's a great guy. And, at the end of the day, it's, the one thing that I think both he and I share is, in the technological world we live in, you can't just say, hey, that's good, we're going to leave that alone. It's like, they've done hackathons and they've done all these innovative things to try to get the very best. And we support our member organizations. And we want the leads to go back to realtors.
Agents who want to get involved, because I always hear that talking to people who are involved, that it helps their business a lot. Should they start with CREA, provincial board, where, or should they start at their brokerage? Where should someone who's I have no idea how to get involved, but I want to.
Yeah.
Where's the best place to start?
Well, I guess I would throw 2 or 3 balls up in the air and see what what lands. But the funny thing is, I was local board president in St. John, and I only ever wanted to be on CREA's Federal Affairs Committee. Yeah. I never wanted to be on CREA. That was never I set different goals for myself, and that just was never a goal. And it was after I got on the Federal Affairs Committee, I was like, wow, this is a great organization. It's got this,
Yeah.
And then I had a lot of my peers say you should run, and and then the rest is history. But I guess I would apply for provincial, local board and federal committees, and then get a sense for what it is. I mean, typically, I speaking from my local board, we're a small board of 240 realtors. Yeah. You can jump right in, but the ones that jump right in and offer a lot of substance right off the bat typically kind of are on a committee first, and then they go up. Certainly for a larger board, I think that's the way. It's harder to kind of get your name around if you're not on a committee. And then I would be applying. We surpass our totals every year of the number of people that apply for our committees. So we're always looking for new, dynamic people that are looking to grow and be positive.
Jonathan asking about in his anecdotal experience, CREA really wasn't in the media much this election or asking our politicians to speak to the issue of affordable housing. Our clients are struggling, and the federal platforms touched on it a bit, but I was hoping CREA would champion this a bit more and help us make it front and center. Now, I know you guys actually were, and you even put the link here to realideas.ca. Mm-hmm. So really more the question is what are you then guys doing to communicate what you're doing to membership? Because that's really more what the issue then there.
Yeah, I chatted about that earlier. We need to up our game in terms of that. Right now we've been mainly communicating through boards and associations, and so, we have been very transparent with government that there's real problems with the way that they want to go about with the stress test.
Yeah.
There isn't one real estate market in the whole country, and we need to have a balanced approach in order to, at the end of the day, sorry not to cut my own answer off, but to go back pre-stress test is just not an option, because as a profession, we don't want the industry to implode like it did in the U.S.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I think they went a little too far and too quick, and rates have been steady for a period of time, and I think that there's certainly a regional approach. How somebody gets tested in Toronto versus St. John, New Brunswick, is beyond me. It shouldn't be the same.
Makes sense.
So sorry, Jonathan, but we're gonna up our game on that.
But they were doing what you were asking.
Yeah, we were absolutely, and I was actually on the national media.
Yeah. Well, then Brendan followed it up with CREA campaign communications was amazing. So you got both. So what do you think the biggest challenge facing CREA is going to be in the next few years?
I feel like the biggest challenge with CREA in the next 5 years will come down to, communication with the members. And what I mean by that is we're communicating well with our members now, but ultimately, to communicate with your members, it's best if you've got a direct link. And I think that question is better asked for me after the AGM, because I think if the Realtor Code stuff passes, then I think there's a whole different method that we can go forward in the future that will protect our professionalism. And maybe that's one of the biggest challenges you read out there right now that, some stories about what have happened in different marketplaces. I know in New Brunswick, in my marketplace, there was a couple that eventually, I don't know what you want to use the word. They didn't physically steal the house, but they bought the house for nothing from an older gentleman who had dementia, and they were his executors, and and it was not a good situation. They had their license stripped, and there's been several Ontario examples, and what's been going on in British Columbia, and so I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I see in the next 5 years is the professionalism piece.